Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Holly Steele, and I'm a teacher on special assignment for the Fulton School District. I'm going to do a tutorial video on how we made our Amazing Race Google form. So we do need to visit drive.google.com. And following some of the same basic instructions that my colleague Ann Cosma shared with you, we are going to create a Google form. Let's go ahead and title our form The Amazing Race. And you have space for a form description. So this could just be a brief description of the race itself. It could be just a note for the audience to let them know what they're going to be doing. We do need to collect a team name, and that's going to be a text question. So we'll go ahead and just call this team name. And we do want to make sure we mark this as a required question because they have to submit a team name before they move on. So I'm going to mark required and say I am done with this first question. Now, one of the things that I shared in the presentation was that we wanted to make sure that you split the different components of the race up using page breaks. So I'm going to click on the little arrow to the right and I'm going to choose page break. And it's going to make sure that they see only one piece of the race at a time because we wouldn't want them to see the whole thing. So I have to give the next page a title. So maybe on the race they call it Route Info. And you could put a description here if you wanted. So you can give some storyline here. You could do whatever it is that you would like to do there. So you're going to see now as soon as I hit done, you can actually see the page break between the two. So now I want to actually give my racers a challenge. And so I'm going to go ahead in this case, I'm going to use a multiple choice question. And they have to choose which way that they're going to go, and only one of these ways is correct. So let's pretend that they had to figure out that what is the capital of California. And they're going to have to race to the correct capital of California. And I could put in help text. I could put in hints. In the race that we did at Q, I had hints in here such as there were links to maps to give you hints, but you had to click on it to go find it. So maybe you put a map, maybe you put some other hint that you think would jog your participants' memory about what they needed to do. So I'm going to put in some choices. So let's see, people might think Los Angeles is the capital of California. Maybe they think San Francisco is the capital of California. Maybe they think San Diego is the capital of California. But really, it's Sacramento. So I have 4 choices here. I'm going to use kind of an extra little piece here. I'm going to make sure that I tell it it's required. And I'm going to use go to page based on answer. And I have to tell it where it's going to go. Right now, it just says continue to next page, and really there isn't a next page. So I need 2 directions for people to go. I need an option for where people go if they get the answer correct, and I need an option for where people go if they get the answer incorrect. Okay, so I need 2 different pages that I could send my racers to. I'm going to go ahead and add in a page break. And I'm going to make this my wrong answer page. And I could put in some text in here like, wah, wah, wah. Sorry. And that just shows them like, hey, I'm sorry, you got the wrong answer. I do not have to actually put any questions on this page because they got it wrong. And what I'm going to end up doing is sending them back to the other question. And I need my second option. Remember I said they had to have 2 directions they could go. They'd go the wrong answer way and the right answer way. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a second page break, and we'll call this the correct answer, and I'm going to tell them to race on. Okay. So now you can see that I have 2 pages for them to go to. So now that I have my 2 destinations I can send my racers, I'm going to go back to the question. Remember I had go to page based on answer. And now I'm going to send my racers where they need to go. So in the drop down next to Los Angeles, which is a wrong answer, I'm going to send them to the wrong answer page. If they clicked on San Francisco, oh, that's the wrong answer. San Diego, oh, that's the wrong answer too. But for Sacramento, I'm going to say continue on to the correct answer. Okay, so it's going to send them. It's going to say if you go to Los Angeles, it's going to send you to page 3, which is down here where it says wrong answer. And I could even say after page 3, wrong answer, I want you to go back to route info because you're going to have to try that again. Okay. But if you get it correct and you choose Sacramento, it sends you to the correct answer page, which is down here, page 4. It says correct answer, race on, and it will just send me down my form. So I'm done with this question on the top, so I'm going to go ahead and hit done. And now I need to make my racers race on because it says correct answer, race on. So I'm going to go ahead and insert my page break so that I get my next question on a new page. So maybe this is a, I don't know, let's see, let's make this a roadblock in my race. And I could have a roadblock description here if I wanted. Oops, there we go. Okay, so notice it's a new page. And on this new page, I can put a new question. I'm going to show you how to do the data validation that we talked about in the presentation. So in the down arrow, I would select text this time because instead of actually clicking on a multiple choice question that's going to send them different directions, this time my racers are going to actually have to type in an answer, and that answer has to be correct. It could be a numerical answer or it could be a text answer. But regardless, that answer has to be correct before they are allowed to race on. Okay, so I can go ahead and put in my question. What question could I use? What is the state fish of California? Why not, right? You could put in a hint if you wanted. It's up to you. And then there's space for text as well. Okay, and we're going to use a special feature that is in the advanced settings. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the little arrow. And that special advanced setting is called data validation. I'm going to check the box. I need to tell my form what sort of data it is expecting. What is the state fish of California? Well, it's certainly not going to be a number. So I'm going to choose the drop-down arrow, and I'm going to choose text, because it's going to expect an answer that is text. And I'm going to tell it that I want you to validate that the data that they enter is text that contains, and then I have to tell it what it's expecting. And if you get it correct, and you've spelled it correct, the state fish, as far as I can recall, is the Garibaldi, which is a very lovely garish, kind of interesting, isn't it? Garibaldi, garish, orange fish that lives off in the coastal waters of California. So the name it has to expect is Garibaldi, and it has space for me to create on the right here what's called a custom error text. And this is what it tells them if they are wrong. So I could say like, no, that's incorrect. Please try again. Okay. And that's what it's going to do. It's going to check the input from your racer, and it's going to say, does that text contain this string exactly as shown, meaning lowercase g spelled exactly the same way. And if it doesn't match, it's going to say, no, that's incorrect. And then you just check the box for required question. We want everything to be required. You might want to put up in your hint, because this is important, it has to match exactly. So you might even say like all lowercase letters, so that your racers know that they are expected to input only lowercase letters for their race answer. So I can say done. Okay, so now I have a very, very simple race that shows, space for a team name, separated by a page, our route info, where they actually have to select a path. Remember that was the one where we used go to page based on answer. There was 3 places they went if they chose a wrong answer, and 1 if they chose a correct answer. And we just inserted kind of empty pages, so to speak, that include wrong answer and correct answer. And then there's space for the roadblock. So if I was to view this live form right now, here's what it looks like. View live form. So here's this first question with team name. So I'm just going to use testing. Say continue. And here's the route info, and there's space again for that storyline so that you can kind of let your racers know where they're racing. And I have this first question, and it says, what is the capital of California? I'm from Southern California, and maybe I thought it was Los Angeles. If I say continue, it's going to say wrong answer. Oh, that's so sad. And even if I hit, I could hit back, and back, by the way, will take me here. But even if I were to hit continue, by the way, it's going to still send me back. So as a racer, I have no choice but to get the correct answer. So yes, I could just sit here and choose them all, but hopefully your racers will, click on your hint and look at the map. And so I'm going to go ahead and hit Sacramento and continue. And you notice this time it says, hey, you got the correct answer. You get to race on. So now if I hit continue, it allows me to race on. So you see that little game mechanic in there. Now I've hit a roadblock and it's asking me, what is the state fish of California? Maybe I thought it was trout. Oh, and it says, no, that's incorrect. Please try again. And it will not let me move on until I type it in exactly. So if I was to say Garibaldi with a Y, oh, no, that's not correct. Darn. So you do have to match it exactly as you typed it in. That includes plurals, so if you had S's on the ends of things, hyphens, commas, capital letters, and so on, it has to match exactly. I could type it in, and now it will say, thank you, you finished the race. Obviously, this is a very short race. So the actual form itself right now is pretty simple. The one that we did in the real Amazing Race is a little bit longer and a little bit more complex. And by that I just mean that it has more questions in it. But they're all of this basic variety. They either use go to page based on, or they use the data validation tool. So these two tools, data validation that we use on the roadblock question, and the go to page based on that we used in the route info question, are the two basic mechanics combined with the page breaks that were used to make the Amazing Race form. And they're just two mechanics that we can use to restrict a user's movement through the form. And as teachers, we can use this educationally to make sure that our students actually get the correct answers before they are allowed to move on. Otherwise, I could see them just trying to race through and submit the form. But we actually want to make sure that they're accurate in their answers that they are submitting. And there are two ways to do that. Hopefully that makes some sense. So this has just been our quick little tutorial to show you how to make an Amazing Race style form. All right, folks, have a great day. Thanks.